Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am so pleased to introduce to you today Zach Mitchum. Welcome. Zach is the guy who helps you build your brand and build your business using YouTube. Welcome, and how are you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm doing very well. All right. I mean, really, you summed it up pretty well there. My favorite thing to do is to help people take what they're already doing, take their business, take all of that and share it through YouTube. I mean, a lot of people know the power of YouTube, but it's amazing the people that I work with, how much, not only money they're leaving on the table, but attention and just, I like to maximize that. I've always been interested with video and, I've helped some pretty cool thought leaders, Fortune 500 companies, brands, just be able to elevate everything that they're doing through YouTube. It's such an amazing platform. So
it is amazing. It's just so, it's as normal as Google is now, like part of our day to day. It has become a search engine, hasn't it? So it's almost like a completely missed opportunity and to not be on YouTube. So tell us, how long have you been doing this? When did this all start, and what sparked this whole thing?
Yeah, I think maybe we'll start with what sparked it. I don't know why, but as a kid, I was always fascinated with video. One of the things about me, I have autism, and so the hyper fixations. Once I get fixed on something, I have to dive into it. But when I was a kid, we didn't have a lot of money, and the one thing that I wanted for Christmas was a little camcorder, a little video camera, and I would just film everything. I don't know why. But the first YouTube video I filmed was when I was, I think, 15. I never actually posted it because I watched it back. I'm like, you can't hear it. It's terrible. I just didn't feel comfortable with it. But I mean, it's been, it's been that long that YouTube has been on my mind. And I would just spend, it was like 4 hours a day researching things on YouTube every day. And so it's like, it's part of my life. And, as I got older and had 9 failed businesses, this is number 10. I realized that this was something I was really, really good at. So I've been doing YouTube consulting for about 5 years now. I took a course on YouTube and it's like, hey, I'll try this out. It's something that I've thought about. But I ended up having a video that sold $100,000 worth of t-shirts for a company. And I only had 500 subscribers. So it's like, there's real power here.
Wow.
But I had a buddy who had replaced his 6-figure income with his YouTube channel. He had quit. He went full time. And I chatted with him. I was like, how are you doing these monetizations? He's like, I'm not doing any of those. Well, we can make you a lot more money. Let's do this.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So from there, it spiraled to local companies that I worked with, Fortune 500, a couple of agencies. And then, I found thought leaders and industry experts. And that's really where I thrived and loved working with the people. So.
Wow, amazing. That's such a cool story. I actually have a question. Obviously, I know what YouTube is. I know you can make money off of YouTube with ads and all that stuff. You mentioned the monetization in that example in particular. How was this guy making that much money through YouTube? And is the monetization part like the views and the ads and stuff? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I do have clients that AdSense is a decent chunk of money. It's never the biggest. If it is, you're doing it wrong. I have worked with one client where that was the biggest chunk of money coming in, and that's a disaster. I have clients bringing in mid 5 figures a month from AdSense, but that should be less than 10% of what you're bringing in. For him in particular, it was affiliate sales. So he would review, and in this instance, it was clothing for men or suitcases or briefcases or things like that. And anything that sold through his links, he would just get a percentage of. And so that's where majority of his money came. You can have brand deals. You can sell your own products. Like there's a lot of ways to make money on YouTube that people just don't even think about. But I mean, he was making, low mid six figures from just affiliate sales through his videos.
Wow. That's amazing. Why does it work so well with YouTube then?
Mm-hmm. That's a trick question because it doesn't work for everyone on YouTube. It for a lot of people, I would assume most people listening to this podcast, it's going to work for them. But it's not always the right choice. The clients that I work with usually have a message. They have something that's life-changing, maybe is the right word. But you need more than a 30-second clip. If you can't get the thing across in the 30 seconds to 3 minutes with Reels or Shorts or TikTok, that long form is really what works. And so with my clients, I'm always recommending long videos, and I mean ideally an hour plus, because then people get to know, like, and trust you. You're the person that they think of when they have the issue on their mind. And Google did a study where, like, taking someone from a cold lead into actually a warm lead and interacting with you and purchasing, they need at least 7 hours of interaction and at least 10 touch points. Wow. So 7 hours of Shorts or Reels or TikToks. I mean,
that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, got us hundreds, if not thousands of videos. But if you have hour-long content, they need to watch 7 videos, and they're at that point. So it's a lot easier.
Wow, that is such great insight. But I always thought that, like, who's gonna watch an hour plus long? Yeah. So how do you find that this content works the best? Like, what's the secret sauce, I guess?
The secret sauce is, and this is the hard part that I can't really teach, but it's being good at what you do. Like, if you know your industry, if you are actually an industry expert, you have a well of knowledge in you, and you just need to get it out. Sometimes maybe the speaking part isn't something you're great at. There's some skills you can learn there, but I can't teach you how to be great in your industry. And so I've worked with people in real estate, in health, in fitness. I mean, Fortune 500 companies, so owning, like theme parks and, beds, like, it can all work, but you have to be good at what you do. If you're not good at what you do, doesn't matter how good I am, I can't help you be better.
Yeah. So it's not about like, this chick is, trying on clothes and doing reviews on them. I can do that too.
Yeah.
It's not about that, right?
No, I've had people that have spent $60,000 a month on their production for their show, and they bring in 7-figure deals. So that worked well. And I've had others that were filming in their car as they're driving, and that also worked well because the information was so good that people watched for an hour.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, tell us more about how you do what you do. So how do people approach you? What do they get out of your services?
Yeah. Usually, I get this question all the time of like, hey, send me your Calendly link. I'm like, I don't have one because I don't advertise that way. It's usually either word of mouth or very targeted. I reach out to people, or team reaches out to people. Just because the person that we work with has to be a certain caliber. And so I have worked with, I'm thinking of my smallest subscriber channel now, and they're, low 5 figures, low. And the amount of deals that come off of that is 7 figures a year. And so it's not necessarily where you're at. It's, does it actually make sense? So the value they get from me, the biggest value is an ROI on the back end on the business. Like the clients that don't make it, the clients that eventually stop services, are ones that the views are the most important, or the watch time, which is far more important than any other metric on YouTube, or the subscribers. If they're hyper focused on that, they lose sight of the whole thing, which is really how much money is this making you for your business. So you have fuel to change the world, to get your message out there, and to really help people. So for me, yes, we want the growth, we want the subscribers, we want the watch time. But for me, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is, are we actually building your business? Are we actually reaching the goals that you set with this channel? And can this be sustainable long-term? Meaning, is it bringing enough revenue to make sense for you?
Right. Because then the watch time and the views and the subscribers are almost like just a secondary effect to all of that, isn't it?
Yeah. I call it a vanity metric. I can get you 1 million subscribers with Shorts if you want, but you won't make any money unless, again, it goes back to the goal. If you need a book deal and you're like, hey, they said if I don't have 100,000, I don't get a book deal. Or if I hit 1 million, I get a bigger book deal. Cool. Let's get you 1 million subscribers. But 1 million subscribers from shorts isn't going to sell much. And it's just it's a plaque on the wall. Like it's fun. It's cool. I've got a couple up here. Like that's great. But it doesn't do you a whole lot of good when, you have the gold plaque, but you don't have any gold in your bank account.
Fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how can you grow and how can you make money on YouTube?
Yeah.
To anyone listening, anyone starting a YouTube channel?
If you're starting, 2 things. Number 1 is make sure every video has a goal. Like if you don't understand what the goal of the video, and the channel needs a goal, but every individual video can have its own goal. And so when people are starting, because YouTube's a little bit different right now, it's promoting smaller channels more than it used to. I don't know how long it'll last. But usually I say YouTube's not kind to small channels because it doesn't have a lot of data points for you. It doesn't know who to show your content to. Like if you have more views than you have subscribers, that video actually did well. So if you have 10 subscribers and you got 20 views, it's actually better than you think. Now 20 views doesn't sound like a lot, but it's getting more data and it's growing.
Okay.
But the real magic in a small channel is building relationships. And so if you say, hey, I want you to come on my show, and you've targeted this person, you say, hey, this is normally a person you'd say, can I take you out to lunch? Because they're a great potential client or a great potential partner that works in your industry but doesn't service your client. So they have complementary services and you kind of help each other grow. Then come on your show. And that relationship could be worth 6 or 7 figures for you. And so leveraging your channel as it's growing to make money and to grow that way is one of the biggest things, I guess the biggest mistakes I see when channels are first starting. Like I just want to be, Alex Hormozi or whoever it is that has a lot of subscribers. Like they didn't start there, and you're never going to get there if you're spending 60 grand a month on content and you're not getting anything back. So let's focus on making more money as this thing grows. Number 2 is content value over production value. Like you don't need, I do have a fancy setup in here. It's like $40,000 setup. I love cameras. It's fun. We talked about that. I'm obsessed with camera stuff. You don't need it. You really, really don't. I started my channel with an iPhone. I have clients that still they're like, hey, what do I use? And just use, you're traveling, just use your phone. It's fine. Like the content value that the audience is going to get is high enough that as long as it sounds decent, like we don't have a bunch of wind, so we can't hear you, like little things, and it looks okay, we're fine. But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles I have with people is they're like, oh, well, it's not professional. It's like, is the quality of the information professional? Is the quality of the information actually going to help them? If yes, then go for it and go long, share as much of your information as possible. If they see you giving 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours worth of free information and it's actually actionable and it's actually valuable for them, they're going to come back and you're going to be the person that they think of. And setting up your funnel through YouTube, there's a lot of things that you need to do to make sure hey, we're continually nurturing this. But if there's 2 things, it really is those 2. Just,
Yeah. I always see this, people saying, oh, it has to be perfect. It has to be professional. I have to have the kit. I have to do this. I can't start until, but I hear that a lot, the key is to start and to be passionate about what you do, be good at what you do and focus on that. And then the rest kind of comes along, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
So who are your clients right now? Who do you work with?
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you find them? What do you do to acquire clients right now?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we don't share client information, so I won't share any particular names, but
no names.
As far as as far as who they are, I have a couple of people that are the top people in the strength and conditioning industry. So they work with Olympic athletes, professional athletes. Some of the strongest people in the world is another client. Real estate, whole life insurance has actually been a new and interesting one. But it's really all over the place, but all of them have a message and really a tribe that wants their message more than anything else. So usually we end up finding them. It's just, we outreach most of the time, or clients we've worked with are referrals, or we just see, recently we've seen a few thought leaders that you've seen them all over podcasts, you've seen them everywhere. They're crushing on Instagram, LinkedIn, but their YouTube's terrible. And so we'll reach out and be like, hey, you're phenomenal everywhere else. Let us help you take your YouTube up, because it's a 2 out of 10 and it could be an 8 out of 10 pretty easily. Yeah. So, and my business partner on the YouTube side is Evan Carmichael. And so any kind of friends that he has that come to him that are like, hey, we want to work with someone, the guy that usually ends up working with them. So
that's perfect. So it's you and your business partner doing this together.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really cool.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
What role really does YouTube or social media play in your business?
Mm-hmm.
If so far it's mainly referrals and connections and network?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We were chatting about this before we started recording. But when I was working by myself, I was leveraging as much content as I could. So I was doing YouTube, LinkedIn was a great one, Amazon Live, which is one that somebody hasn't, most people haven't heard of, podcasts. I was just testing everything. I wanted to know what worked, what didn't. When I started working with Evan, I mean, he has, over 12 million subscribers on his YouTube channels. He's got LinkedIn, he has the name recognition. And so I really stopped, mostly because I couldn't build what he already had. And we didn't really get into this story, but when I was before working with him, I was actually working on another partnership with a company. And so I was slowly getting rid of clients to be able to go full-time in on this partnership. And right after I interviewed Evan, actually kind of the same strategy we talked about earlier. Hey, can you come on my show? I brought him on my show to ask 3 questions for clients, not knowing I was kind of using strategies that he recommends. He came on, he spent extra time with me, and he's like, you could be my next person. I can invest in you. And I was already doing this other partnership thing. So I was like, I don't know if this will really work, but that fell through and I went to 0. I had, 9 failed businesses. This business had failed to, go over 6 figures 2 years in a row. That was always my goal, was 6 figures. I just could never hit it.
Right.
So I was like, hey, I don't have anything else. Let's do this. He's like, okay, cool. And so in 3 weeks, we went from 0 to ARR being 100K for the year. And then 3 weeks after that, we doubled it again. And then we finished that year just under $250,000 for the first year. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it worked so well. And I wasn't posting, I wasn't doing any of those things.
Yeah.
Then no social media, and it worked so well. I was like, okay, cool. Let's just build the business that way. And it's worked really well, but it worked so well because I had a mentor that was monetarily, motivated to make sure that I succeed, and had the name recognition, had all the YouTube stuff going. I mean, he's posting, at that time, he's posting 3 videos a day to YouTube.
Wow.
He was already doing all that side. So I didn't need to. And so for me now, most of my leads don't come from YouTube. It's the outreach or the referral. I can only work with so many clients. And so it is a pretty small list. But LinkedIn also has been a pretty good one. I love speaking on there and helping. It's more business focused. And so it's easier for people to say, hey, yeah, I want to do YouTube, because I'm using LinkedIn for my business. I'm using social to build my business. This isn't I don't want vanity metrics. I just, how much money I'm actually going to make. And so,
of course, yeah.
Sometimes I'll find people through there.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. We talked about this before. It's just how there's one side, you have the vanity metrics. Yeah. It's a number and whatever. But on the other side, you do have the opportunities that become so much easier for you to get, whatever they may be. They may be speaking events, opportunities, and just having that audience, but not just any audience. It's not about having the number. It's about having an audience that's interested and engaged and wants to learn from you, who will eventually buy whatever it is that, you're selling, as long as it's, you've got them in your intentions, isn't it? Like, it really is at the end of the day, like who you are and what you have to offer, and how you're going to be there to serve that audience, because it's no point to have an audience if you're not going to do anything for them, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I can get you 10 million views on a video if I pay for views from Russia and India and China. Like, that doesn't help you. It's a vanity metric. And that's kind of what Shorts is. Usually it's more interested than just paying some random people to watch it. But if you really want to find your tribe and find people that actually are using your information, actually want to hear from you, actually know, like, and respect you, like, you got to do it the hard way, the organic way. There are some paid strategies that work, not very many, but you really have to, like you said, keep them in mind and show up authentically for them. So
yeah. So what do you have planned for that then? How are you going to achieve that goal for yourself?
Yeah. So I mean, this was actually not planned. We started out this year. My wife, worked for a company. She's worked for companies like Pinterest, Reddit, Google, some bigger companies with operations and things like that. And last year she had a pretty good job, and we're like, hey, this is awesome. Let's, we wanted to homeschool the kids for a while. The first year of building the business that we talked about with Evan, I was working more. Last year, I was working about half as much and still made the same amount of money. So I was like, hey, why don't we homeschool the kids? I can take care of the day. We can have you take care after work. I think we can make it work. And a couple days later, we found out that her job was eliminated at the company. And we're like, oh, okay, well, we wanted to retire you in a year anyway, so I guess we're a year ahead of schedule. So that was a bit stressful. But we replaced that income in a couple of weeks. We were on vacation in Mexico, and we still replaced that income in just a couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
So the business, it's there. It can grow a lot. And so, have a team taking on more, and then just growing that way. So I'm going back to posting on LinkedIn and going back to speaking on podcasts. I used to do this a lot, and I haven't, in over a year. And I don't ever actually expect to get clients from LinkedIn or from the podcast. I expect to give the value, and just, it's that jab, right hook, or the, Alex Hormozi is just continually giving. Everybody has a philosophy of this, but it's the more you give, like, the karmic equity of the universe has to balance things. So if I give so much value, eventually it has to come back, and it always comes back in weird ways. So I got a message yesterday from a client, my brother-in-law's, who's getting a tattoo, and my brother-in-law's like, hey, you should connect with my brother-in-law. And he messaged me. He's like, yeah, we run like 4 consulting businesses. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Like, I no way I ever would have connected with you ever. But it balances, and it works. It just always has in my life. And I firmly believe that it always will. And so goal is just this year is really to give as much as I can in content, in speaking, in those ways. And I've already almost doubled the business month 1 of the year. So it's, it's working.
That's amazing. That is really, really nice. I love that. Yeah. Unexpected ways, the way it comes in. That's really funny, but it's always the best stories you share, though. It's really cool.
I appreciate
that.
So
how much time do you dedicate to your clients right now a month?
Yeah. So, we do, so there's a spread here depending on how we help. So if it's just strategy calls, I'm doing, 2 1-hour calls a month with the clients. We're checking in on their YouTube every day, or, at least multiple times a week, to make sure, hey, are we implementing things we're talking about? Are they actually working for your channel? We know they work for, we have millions of subscribers worth of clients. So it's like, hey, this works for them. Yeah. We expect it'll work for you, but it doesn't always. And so making sure that those are working. Really it's, not the 2 hours a month. It's more than that, because me and team are all checking in, doing things. But we do have full scale clients where, like, we do the strategy sessions. We talk about what to record. They go record it and they send us it. And then we do everything else. So we'll edit it. We title, thumbnail, optimize, post, everything. So really just depends on the client. But, at the very base, it's that strategy where they get, 2 hours a month with me to make sure everything that they're doing is actually building their business. And
yeah, that's exactly what we do.
Okay, there you go.
but it's on the social media part of stuff, which is really, really cool. Yeah, no, you completely get it then. everything that happens
100%.
behind the scenes and what needs to be done. Yeah, that's funny.
More than some people think. It's
yeah,
when
no,
you
of
have
course,
good
way
talented
more.
people, it's easier, but it's
Absolutely. Absolutely. You need to have a team. You need to have a team behind you. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of the people who come on here find that they really struggle because they feel like they have to do everything by themselves on top of running their businesses. So a lot of the people who come on here don't do really social media, don't really do YouTube, don't do any of that. And they're like, I'm just so busy with my stuff. I just have, my clients, I have my networking, I have this, I want to focus on the speaking. I've got my retreats happening, but I also still want to be like, I still have this vision for myself, and I really want to become a public figure. I want to serve more people, and not just anybody. I want to serve like people who need me, but I just don't know how to do it, or I don't have the time and all of that. And it's just honestly, we hear the same stories every day, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah. Well, and like, I love Dan Martell's. Buy back your time is one, but the quote I think that sums it up is like 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome, where it's like, look at your calendar, get stuff off of your calendar. I just did this a couple of weeks actually before my wife lost, her job was gone, and shifted over most of what I was doing over to team. And I'm just like, hey, I've got plenty of time to build. This is awesome. Like, is everything as good as I was doing it? No. But it's 80% of the way there, and I can go and double check and refine things a little bit. And that takes me 1/10 of the amount of time to pay team to do 80-90% of the work, just give my final stamp of approval, my tweaks here and there. And then I go back to doing the thing that I'm great at. I have ADHD, and so distractions really are terrible for me. And so, not only on the health side, I've got to focus, but if I have the clutter of 20 tasks that I need to do that I'm not great at,
disaster.
Yeah, I don't have time to build the business. I have time to do content. Like my brain, like I'll get overwhelmed and just like doom scroll because my brain's like, I can't do 20 things today. So get it off your plate, get it off your calendar. You will not grow until you do. Yeah.
I can definitely see that being a huge blocker for many, many, many people. I think a lot of people deal with that, and it's almost like the stress of knowing you have so much on your plate that blocks you, and you're just like, okay, I'm just not gonna look at this now. I'm gonna do something else until I feel so guilty that it's impossible to ignore. Yeah, just get the help, just get the team. You're gonna save so much time and money in the end.
Yeah, 100%. And like take care of you. It was not the greatest time to have a trip planned to Mexico probably, but we started every morning on the beach in the sun, like just calm, meditating, reading, playing, whatever. And I got 3 new clients while I was on vacation. Like I didn't do a whole lot. I just, kind of cleared everything, calmed, and, made sure I take care of me. And like it works. Like if you don't set your intentions, if you don't take the time to take care of yourself, like the chaos will take care of you in ways that you don't want it to.
Yeah, for sure. What has been the biggest challenge for you, or just generally, what is the biggest challenge you're going through right now in your work?
Biggest challenge in my work. I think a lot of it has actually, like if you were to ask me that at the beginning of the year, I think not knowing what I really wanted from my business was a big one. Really being distracted by small things that I'm not the best at anyway was a huge one. And I think that really ruined my confidence as well, because I didn't have a clear direction that I wanted to go. This trip's been life-changing for us, but when we went to Mexico, I realized like I was away from all my stuff. I was away from, all the things, the fancy things that we've built. And I realized that, I just loved being with my family. I loved being out in the sun and playing in the beach, and like the simpleness of that. It wasn't just a vacation. It was like I've taken a lot of vacation. Well, not a lot of vacations. Growing up, we were poor. We didn't go on a lot of vacations, but since I've been married, a decent amount. And every vacation when we finished, I'd be like, hey, yeah, I'm ready to get back, ready to build, ready to go. And this time I was like, I don't ever want to leave. And that was a really weird feeling for me, because I've moved 35 times. I don't want to move again, but I was like, I really feel like we should move down here and sell all of our stuff and that. And just have the simplicity. And so I think that struggle of what do I really want? Where am I really going? What am I really best at? Were huge things. And I think I've, over the last month, gotten a lot of clarity on what I want this business to be. And it's, I mean, already well on its way there. What else do I want to build? Who do I want to be in the space? And that's already taken huge strides, over the last month as well. And then the distractions, since getting back, I've started meditating every morning, something I always thought was stupid because I was like, no, you just get to work, like lift heavy weights, bang things around, like you're fine. But I've looked at it a little bit more. I've been reading The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's been kind of an interesting read, and seeing meditation as more like training for my concentration. ADHD meds haven't worked well for me, so training my concentration to be able to focus on the most important things has been huge. And a lot of the things that I've struggled with over the past 10, 15 years have gotten a lot better when I've gotten that. I took the time to get that clarity, and I take that time every morning now to make sure that I know where the day's going, I know where the week's going, the year's going, and I give myself that space to really focus in and just, start working towards it. So.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That's really, really good. Yeah, I found that this year as well. I mean, after the Christmas holidays, I haven't really taken a holiday before this year, which was just so crazy. I mean, I've been in the workforce, I guess, since 2015, and out of uni for only 3-4 years now. But I've just been working all the time, working. And it's just like, I come from a hospitality background, so I'm used to working any day of the year, like holiday, weekend, whatever. Like, it's the same thing for me. New Year's Day, Christmas Day, whatever. It's the same. I'm just like numb to it all now. But this is the first time, the last few months, no, actually the last year, that I've been able to stick to like a traditional work schedule. And that has just, it took a lot to be able to get used to that. And I was finally able to be like, you know what, I'm going to take some time off. And I took the time off, and I spent time with my family, with my kid, with my husband and his family and all that. And it's like on the 1st of January, 2025, I was just like, oh, I feel this new sense of refreshed, energetic motivation to just do what I do better and in my business as well. So it's amazing sometimes what the time off can do for you, and what the training your concentration thing can do for sure.
I think almost every major change in my life or breakthrough or pushing through a barrier has come either during or after a vacation. If you don't take that time, you stress yourself out and overwhelm yourself unnecessarily. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you have planned for 2025? Is there anything in the pipeline?
Yeah. I mean, more of building the business. I want to get it to a certain point. But also, I mean, when I was down in Mexico, we had a lot of fun. We didn't stay, the first time we went, we stayed in all-inclusive and experienced that. This time we're like, no, we want to really experience Mexico. My wife has traveled all of South America, and she's like, that's not the real experience. So we did that, and I was like, there's a lot of really fun things down here. And, I've been to quite a few masterminds, and most of them were, I guess, missing. There were a couple that were amazing in connecting you with people and really helping you to, form lifelong relationships. And I think that was the biggest value from those. And so I'm looking at starting to do something like that down in Mexico, where, small group of guys rent a nice house on the beach. There was great dinners, there was great adventures that we went on. There's a ton of amazing stuff, but kind of finding my tribe, I guess, is how I would sum that up. Because I think most people listening to this can relate. We're finding friends who really get you and connect with you. You have your neighbors, you have your high school or previous early adult friends, things like that. But most of I don't have anyone from that I don't work with or partner with or something like that gets me. And so finding a tribe of people that it's like, hey, I could text you at midnight and you'd hop on a phone call and help me sort through something if I really needed you. Just finding those people. And so that's one of my big goals this year, is to find my tribe. Building the business is awesome. Working with incredible clients is wonderful. Really, like, just even the past month of seeing the life that my wife and kids get to have now with homeschooling and her not working, maintaining that, we'll be able to do that pretty easily. But I think the big one that is not something I've done and not something that is super clear is finding that tribe. Is it you need people around you. Like I have a couple of really, really good people, and those people have taken me from 1 to 100. And so if I can add 10, 15, 20 more, we can go from 100 to 10,000. So
I love that. This is a bit of a personal question out of business, but like I totally relate to the whole finding your tribe thing. And the thing is, I have a couple of really, really good friends that I love and I trust with my life, but they're not nearby. They're across the world. And that makes me really sad because I've moved a lot and I want to find my tribe. I want to find people who I can just go to, When you say you want to find your tribe, does it matter to you where they live?
No, not really. So I thinking about this, the guy that I mentioned earlier in the podcast, he kind of mentored me on YouTube originally, and he replaced his 6-figure income. We've actually never met in person. We've been friends for it's almost been a decade now.
Wow.
So we'll just text occasionally, things like that. One of my best friends, like the people that I work with that are like amazing and have helped me so much. One's in the UK, one's in Ohio, which is like 1,500 miles away from me. The other's in Canada. None of them are local. Honestly, most people listening to this, like if you look at success, income, like all of the things, you're probably top 0.1%, probably in the world, maybe top 1% world, but top 1.1% in your country. Like you're not likely to find too many people. I would say you probably can find 1 or 2 in your city if you live in a big enough place, but the likelihood that they also have similar interests, similar connection points is probably really low. And so the beauty of living in a digital world is you can build that tribe no matter where they live, and the loneliness that you feel, they're feeling also. Like they want that connection. So even if it is only digital or through phone or getting together once or twice a year, like if that's worth it for you, there's someone else out there that it's worth it for as well, and you just need to find them.
Appreciate it. Appreciated that. Thanks for answering.
Absolutely.
It's nice to be able to relate to someone. A lot of people, they're like, oh my gosh, you move so much, you move all the time, you never have anyone around you. And I'm like, I know.
like I want to stop it, just like, and this time it's like, it's a feeling. It's like, you should move to Mexico. I'm like, again, we bought our forever house. I don't want to move
please,
again. Why?
Don't make me do this again, please.
But not listening to those inklings, like you'll lose out if you don't listen.
No, for sure. Actually, last year, it would have been November 2023. It had been my lifelong dream to live in Greece. And that whole year, 2023, it just kept life just kept beating me down. And my brain was just like, you have to move to Greece. You just have to do it. Just go. And so November 2023, I finally did it. And it just transformed my life. Like it was the best thing I ever did. I unfortunately had to move again. But it's still, it's still on my mind. I will probably go back one day. But it's all part of your journey. Like
some people, like the average American anyway, lives within, I think it's 8 miles of where they were born. Like 80% of the population. It's something small, like 10 or 15 miles from where they were born.
Wow.
And I didn't live that close to where I was born ever, because I was like basically born on a road trip back home. So it's just like, that's never been a thing for me. We've moved a ton, but changing your location changes everything, changes the people around you, to the culture, the food. Like if you're it's like a crab, like you're continually outgrowing your shell, and so you need a new shell, and sometimes that new shell is a new location, unfortunately. But no matter how hard it is or how much it hurts to kind of shed the old shell, the new one's better.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Anyway, any final message for our listeners today?
Yeah, I mean, we've covered a lot. If you're starting on YouTube, just start with sharing the most important value that you can give. Don't care about like anything else. Like, you will get better. You're going to have terrible videos. My first 100 videos were awful. Like, they really
100.
terrible. 100. Yeah. And if you look at Evan, I can't remember his number. It was like the first 300 videos.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Like everybody, because the presentation changes, your voice changes. Like, you think you know your message, but you know it in teaching clients, them asking you questions and you giving that specific knowledge. You having to talk or interview someone or do a show, it's an entirely new skill. And so get those 100 bad videos out of the way, but the information in there is going to be good enough that people are still going to watch, and they'll watch for years to come. So give your best information. Just go out there and help people. You'll be able to build your business. On the personal side of things, 1, listen to those inklings, but 2, find your tribe. It really can change your life. I only have a small handful now, and it's taken me from, not a person I wanted to be to someone who I never thought I'd become. I had big aspirations when I was young, and when I was 16, I wanted to be a millionaire by 30. And like, I don't think that's normal for a 16-year-old. Maybe it is, but I've become so much more than I ever thought I would already, and I'm just getting started. So finding those people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself will transform your life.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I totally believe in that, actually. I mean, it's of course you have to believe in yourself, but I totally believe that if you can find people who can truly support you and share that like vocally with you and share how much they believe in you as well, just gives you such a boost, like so much more power. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'll share my problems with one of my buddies, the one in the UK, and he'll just laugh at me. He's like, "You're bigger than that." Like, okay, cool, thanks. Like he just sees more in me than I sometimes do in myself. And everybody, like, you're gonna look down on yourself at some point. But if you have that mirror back of the best parts of yourself, you can dominate. So
yeah, amazing. Well, thank you, Zach. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Thank you for your time. You have so much very valuable content and information. I mean, very valuable information here. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you have an awesome day.
You as well. Thanks.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?